Hello, this is Chapter 1, Research Foundations and Fundamentals. Industry Thought Leadership. Our learning objectives for this chapter include the environment in which research decisions are made and the language of professional researchers. CEOs are evolving the employee value proposition to align employee expectations with their company's business needs, using technology to ensure connectedness, providing flexible work models, and focusing on corporate purpose to give work a deeper meaning. This is from a KPMG CEO survey. We changed how we think about what kind of business we're in, which is a complete ecosystem of solutions rather than vehicle sales. We don't manage risks, so we have no risk. We manage risks so we know which risks are worth taking, which ones will get us to our goal, which ones have enough of a payout to even take them at all. Trust is the key to unlocking the sharing of resources and most especially data. It creates the foundation upon which you can build as you address challenges and opportunities together. Any good strategy involves risk. If you think your strategy is foolproof, the fool may well be you. Whatever you learn becomes obsolete very fast, faster than in the past. So ambition means being humble enough to accept that what you got here, you won't get there. Yes, your experience is important, but you cannot necessarily rely on the past to build a future. There were 5 exabytes of information created between the dawn of civilization through 2003, but that much information is now created every 2 days. So what are some KRIs, or key risk indicators? Well, people, process, technology, and facilities. And then you have different risk situations, possible KRIs, measurement, and monitoring risk assessment. So when people, what's the risk situation? Well, you have a high turnover, high employee turnover. High employee turnover is indicative of a company problem. And it means that people are not happy where they are and they don't stay. And there could be a lot of reasons. So if you go to a company and ask what the turnover rate is. If it's high, it's a problem there. And possible key risk indicators, people aren't coming to work. They're missing work. How many days are they missing? And every 30 days, work days decline 20% or more. What kind of process? Production can't keep pace with demand. If production can't keep pace with demand, somebody's not doing their job. It means someone's not anticipating demand, or the production equipment can't handle it, which means that the company hasn't made the investment that they need to make. Technology, cyber attacks. And you can see that if you're getting a lot of phishing emails. Does your company's IT department work hard enough so that you're not being bothered with having to deal with a lot of bogus emails that are looking for your information or trying to trap you, or basically, cyber attacks? That's not good. And then what kind of facilities are there? Are they safe facilities? Are there hazards to employees? Do you pass inspection? So these are some of the KRIs, or key risk indicators, that are early warning signs of negative impact. Moving on, if I can get to the next one. Here we go. Hello. For some reason, here we go. We're moving forward here. The relationship of data to insights. So at the top of the pyramid, we have actionable insights. Prior to that are the insights, and what leads to insights is information and finding. And at the bottom, it's basically just data or unprocessed facts. And then information and finding is the processed data. And then the context interpreted information or findings are the insights. And then the insights are what we use basically to make the decision. And this is where business collects their information from transactional data, from observational data, from conversational data, or internet analytics. And this chart diagram represents business intelligence. Where do you get business intelligence? You get business intelligence from a variety of places. And we can take a look at this and you can see the different areas where it would be competitive, economic, cultural and social, technological, demographic, or government and regulatory. What's the research process? Well, stage one is basically coming up with a research question. That's the most important. And you come up with a research question by exploring. Then after a research question comes up, you have to design the research. And you design the research through data collection and sampling. How are you going to do that? Then you decide to collect and prepare the data. That's stage three. And then after you get the data, you have to analyze and interpret it and basically develop what type of insights is the data showing you. And then you report then on the insights and the recommendations. And that would be the 5 steps of research there. There's something called constructs, and they're composed of concepts in a job redesign here. And we can take a look. You have most concrete and most abstract. So we have presentation quality construct, language skills construct, and job interest construct. And it basically illustrates some of the concepts and constructs relevant to job redesign. And the concepts at the bottom of the exhibit are the most concrete and easily measured. And keyboarding speed is just one concept in the group that defines a construct that the human resource analysts call presentation quality. Researchers often use more than one term for the same concept or construct. This is a practice that drives most of the learning language crazy, as it does anyone learning any new language. You will always be safe using independent and dependent, but it helps if your students know the alternative terms when they are reading in the research press or in the academic. So this is some of the various synonyms that you're going to see with different. The independent variables, the predictor, the dependent criterion, presumed cause, presumed effect, stimulus response, predicted from, predicted to, etc., etc. And here's a summary of variable types. You have dependent, independent, moderating, control, confounding, and intervening. And this is the relationship among variable types. So if you have 4-day work week, and then you have what your productivity is, and then how old is your worker. Then you have some other things. You have different variables that you're going to be bringing into it, and it becomes a lot more complex as you bring more and more. And then if you're taking a look at a research question like, why didn't sales increase? Well, take a look at what the facts are. See what happened, come up with the hypothesis, and then try to find your facts and see whether or not you can prove your hypothesis. So a checklist for a strong hypothesis, here's your criteria. Adequate for its purpose? Is it testable? And is it better than its rivals? And then you can go into the specifics for that. Snapshots, close-up, and pick profiles. This is good. In recent decades, while businesses develop data structures to accommodate volumes, excuse me, I don't know why it skipped, volumes of digital data, they weren't universally successful at putting that data to use. They didn't know what to do with it. It was so much data. What do you do with it? Well, we've gotten a lot better with being able to analyze data, hence business analytics. So 95% of global executives agree that new data structures and strategies are required to manage the dramatic changes to their organization's data landscapes. So this pick profile is Accenture Technology Trends. Businesses have shifted from an environment that accepted data opacity to one that expects transparency. It's not just businesses looking for this level of openness, it's everyone, governments, consumers, employees, shareholders, watchdog groups, suppliers, the media, and the general public. Big data is all about analyzing the past, but it has nothing to do with the future. Small data, seemingly insignificant observations, you identify in consumers' homes is the emotional DNA that we leave behind. Danish toymaker Lego used interviews and an ethnographic observation to discover why sales were declining. The insight: the major reason children play with Legos is a sense of accomplishment. The confidence that various stakeholders have that an organization can maintain the integrity of its data, applications, infrastructure, security, and privacy across all experiences, platforms, and networks. Can a firm survive without digital trust? The answer is no. There are consequences of trust loss: the disruption of services, production, loss of customers, weakened market position, regulatory fines, sanctions, bond downgrades, employee turnover, inability to process payments, shareholder arrest. Can a firm survive? 80% lose trust in firm after a breach. 25% stop interacting with the firm after a breach. 63% hold company responsible even when it falls victim to phishing scam or malware. And 74% feel a firm's possible loss of relative value following a data breach. It's embarrassing when a company does have a breach. And that's why that company should do everything it can to maintain their trust. Companies are vulnerable from three types of bad actors, and not all pose the same degree of damage. You have hacktivists, cyber criminals, and also APT, or advanced persistent threats. And a company has an incumbent responsibility to make sure that they prevent all three of these from happening. Bad actors use trial runs before an attack, and they want passwords or email addresses or usernames or just names. And then they just test, they start testing. In this PIC profile operating definition, any tobacco product use of one or more of the following tobacco products on greater than 1 day in the past 30 days is a problem. What's the pulse point? The percent of employees who never consider what their bosses, clients, or colleagues think before posting to a blog, discussion forum, or social network. That could be a problem. You could lose your job because of these kind of things. The percent of marketers who say they don't have enough data to understand their target markets. It's just some text images here. From the headlines, most students are familiar with public access generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Bard, and Bing, among others, where a natural language question can lead to a detailed response. Companies are now gathering and digitizing huge repositories of data, white papers, prior research, studies, documents, etc. They're hiring partners to develop generative AI capabilities to tap into these digital resources that at best were difficult to find or at worst once lay dormant. Besides the high cost, what are the risks of taking this plunge into proprietary generative AI? And what are the risks of not doing it? Learning objectives are to understand the environment in which research decisions are made. And that's the language of professional researchers. And this is something that we should have a core concept and understanding of when we're looking at our capstone class. Okay. I thank you for listening.